Hey, True Believers, Englentine here. It's time for the Spirit Awards. We did the Gabbies, now are the Spirit. The Gabbies are about the worst of 2019 so far. This is about the best. We did the Nominees show, and here they are. It's time for you to vote, and it's pretty easy. All you have to do is cut and paste the list that's in the description onto the comment section, erase the ones that you don't want, and the ones that are left, that's what you voted for. So if you're wondering, hey, what is this all about? It's very simple. Me and my brother used to be a part of the channel, we were looking and we realized, you know what, the Eisner Awards aren't about best comics anymore. It's about what's more political, what has the right politics, and more important, it's far removed from what people are really reading. And I understand it's just like the Oscars, they want to bring attention to the smaller films. Now they want to bring attention to the independent comics, and that's not a bad thing, but it's not what it's supposed to be about either. The best is the best, whether it's independent or it's Marvel, it's DC, whichever. So once again, we came up with a list of nominees, both the panel and the people in the comment section. And now here they are presented for your vote. Once again, take the list from the description, copy and paste, eliminate what you don't want, and let's get this party started. And I almost forgot, sorry. Make sure that you watch on Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on I Love Comics for the results of your vote. And while I have you here, click like, share, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell because that's what YouTube really cares about. And don't forget to help support us at Patreon, Ko-Fi, or go on over to BitChute. Thank you very much, and let's get this party started. The first category is Most Improved, be it comic book or comic book creator, and the nominees are Batgirl, written by Marguerite Scott, sorry if I said that wrong, art by Norm Rapmund and Paul Pelletier. Batman Beyond, written by Dan Jurgens and drawn by Wade Von Grodbadger and Rick Leonardi. Doctor Strange, written by Mark Waid and drawn by Barry Kitson. Justice League, written by Scott Snyder and drawn by Jorge Jimenez. Supergirl, written by Mark Andraco and drawn by Julio Ferreira and Eduardo Pansica. They're good comics, it's just that nobody seems to be talking or buying them. These are the nominees for Most Underrated Comic Book, January to June 2019. The Adventures of the Super Sons, written by Peter J. Tomasi and drawn by Matt Santorelli and Carlo Barberi. Freedom Fighters, written by Robert Venditti and drawn by Eddie Barrows. Hawkman, written by Robert Venditti and drawn by Brian Hitch. Invaders, written by Chip Zdarsky and drawn by Butch Goosh and Carlos Magno. The Punisher, written by Matthew Rosenberg and drawn by Simon Kudranski. And Unit 44, written by Wes Locker and drawn by Ed Jimenez. It's what keeps us coming back every month. These are the nominees for Best Storyline, January to June 2019. The Hunted from Amazing Spider-Man, created by Nick Spencer and Humberto Ramos. Daredevil Know Fear by Chip Zdarsky and Marco Checchetto. From Detective Comics, Arkham Knight by Peter J. Tomasi and Andrew Hennessy. Hawkman Cataclysm by Robert Venditti and Brian Hitch. And Justice League Sixth Dimension by Scott Snyder and Jorge Jimenez. Sometimes all you need is one issue to tell a great story. Here are the nominees for Best Single Issue Comic or One Shot. Detective Comics Annual Number 2, written by Peter J. Tomasi and drawn by Travis Moore and Max Rayner. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man Number 6, Spider-Bite, written by Tom Taylor and art by Juan Cabal. The Incredible Hulk Last Call, written by Peter David and drawn by Dale Keown. Star Wars Age of Republic Special Number 1, written by Mark Guggenheim, Jody Hauser, and Ethan Sachs and drawn by Carlos Gomez, Paolo Villanelli, and Casper Wingard. And Trump's Space Force, written by Chuck Dixon, with art by Timothy Lim. Next category we have is the Best Miniseries, and the nominees are The Super Sons, written by Peter J. Tomasi and drawn by Carlo Barberi. Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, written by James T. Tinian IV and art by Freddie E. Williams II. The Batman Who Laughs by Scott Snyder and art by Jacques. Freedom Fighters, written by Robert Venditti and art by Eddie Barrows. Spider-Man Life Story, written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Mark Bagley. In the next category, here are the nominees for Best New Ongoing Series from January to June of 2019. Batman and the Outsiders, written by Brian Hill and art by Dexter Soy. Conan the Barbarian, written by Jason Aaron with art by Mohammed A. Asrar. Daredevil, written by Chip Zdarsky and drawn by Marco Cicchetto. The Invaders, written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Butch Guice and Carlos Magno. And yes, I'm going to say Guice and Gushin any way I could read that, and maybe once I'll get it right. My Hero Academia Vigilantes, drawn by Betancourt and written by Hideyuki Furuhashi. And The Green Lantern, written by Grant Morrison with art by Liam Sharp. Next up, we have the nominees for Best Cover Artist for 2019, January to June. Alex Ross. Artgerm. Liam Sharp. Lucio Perillo. And Marcello Ferreira. Walk carefully, there will be spoilers in this next category. Next up, we have the best moments in comic books for 2019, January to June, and the nominees are Discovering the Origin of Arkham Knight in Detective Comics 1004. Betty Ross eating the Hulk's heart in The Immortal Hulk number 19. Spider-Man talks Daredevil down from violence in Daredevil number 5. The death of Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead number 192. It's all a make-a-wish at the end of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man number 5, Spider-Bite. Next up, we have the nominees for the Best Comic Book TV or Movie from January to June 2019. Alita Battle Angel. The Doom Patrol. Avengers Endgame. Shazam. And Young Justice Outsiders. Next up are the nominees for Best Licensed Characters. Conan the Barbarian from Marvel Comics. Ghostbusters from IDW. Rick and Morty from Oni Press. Star Trek from IDW. And the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from IDW. Next up, we have the nominees for the Best Artist of January to June 2019. Brian Hitch for Hawkman. Clay Mann for Heroes in Crisis. Joe Bennett for The Immortal Hulk. Jorge Jimenez for Justice League. And Russell Dodderman for War of Realms. Next up, we have Best Writer for January to June 2019, and the nominees are Peter J. Tomasi for Detective Comics, Robert Venditti for Hawkman, Scott Snyder for Batman Who Laughs, Scott Snyder for Justice League, and Chip Zdarsky for Spider-Man Life Story. The next category is Best Independent Comic of 2019, January to June, and the nominees are Amber Blake from IDW, written by Jade Lagardier, and art by Butch Guice. I apologize for how much I'm butchering these names. Archie 1941, written by Mark Waid, Brian Augustine, and art by Peter Krause and Kelly Fitzpatrick. Die from Image Comics, written by Kieran Gillen, and art by Stephanie Hans. Middle West from Image Comics, written by Scotty Young, with art by Jorge Corona. The Wrong Earth from Ahoy Comics, written by Tom Payer, with art by Jamal Iggle. Next up, we have the nominees for Best Marvel Comic of January to June 2019. Amazing Spider-Man, written by Nick Spencer with art by Ryan Ottley and Alberto Albuquerque. Daredevil, written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Marco Cicchetto. The Immortal Hulk, written by Al Ewing with art by Joe Bennett. Spider-Man Life Story, written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Mark Bagley. Savage Sword of Conan, written by Gary Dugan and art by Ron Garney. And here are the nominees for Best DC Comic, January to June 2019. Adventures of the Super Sons, written by Peter J. Tomasi and drawn by Carlo Barberi. Freedom Fighters, written by Robert Venditti and art by Eddie Barrows. Hawkman, written by Robert Venditti with art by Brian Hitch. Justice League, written by Scott Snyder with art by Jorge Jimenez. The Silencer, written by Dan Abnett and drawn by V. Ken Marion. And finally, the category we've all been waiting for, and yes, just like the Gabby Awards, I'm allowing 7 this time around. We have the nominees for Best Comic Book of 2019 from January to June. Here we go. Adventures of the Super Sons, written by Peter J. Tomasi and drawn by Carlo Barberi. Archie, 1941, by Mark Waid and Brian Augustine. Detective Comics by Peter J. Tomasi and Andrew Hennessy. Hawkman by Robert Venditti and Brian Hitch. The Immortal Hulk by Al Ewing and Joe Bennett. Superman, Man and Superman, written by Marv Wolfman with art by Claudio Castellini. And Spider-Man Life Story by Chip Zdarsky and Mark Bagley. There you go, gang. Those are the nominees for the Spirit Awards for 2019 January to June. Once again, the way to vote, you just copy and paste the nominees list that's in the description below into the comment section and eliminate those you don't want. That's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Don't forget also to comment on the video itself. Comment on what you think we might be able to do to improve. By all means, I'm listening. Also, don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell because that's all YouTube cares about when they care at all. If you really do like the channel, please think about supporting us. Go on over to Ko-Fi or Patreon. Links are in the description below, along with our BitChute, where you could basically give a tip in the tip jar. I'm doing commissions. It's on Ko-Fi. Basically, you can run the channel. As a matter of fact, if I get so many commissions that it's every day, I will do whatever you guys want. I am that much of a shill. Anyway, yeah, go on over to Ko-Fi. You can pick out one of the categories, and whatever video you want to do, I will do it. So I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.